Right, guys, I think I might have found or at least one of the easiest ways to add another 10, 20, 50, £1,000 a month income to your insurance firm. If you're in insurance business at the moment, you're in the insurance industry, you're currently making sales, you're generating revenue, you're making new business policy sales, but you're wanting to get to the next stage. Maybe your acquisition isn't as well structured as it could be. Maybe you're buying leads at the moment, having to compete with so many different insurance firms. Maybe you're calling leads and they're just not the right type of quality that you want to actually sell to. The solution here that I'm going to showcase to you is, without any question of a doubt, one of the easiest ways that we've seen being able to generate easily another 10, 20 grand extra a month in income for the business. There's a few things that you need, so we're going to jump straight into that right now. And it's really just a 6-step process and the actual points that you need. First one, really simple, a high converting landing page, somewhere where we can get eyeballs to and something that gets somebody to make a response and go to the next level. So a landing page, really the first step to this. Second thing you're going to need, Google ads. Stick with me. I'm sure you've run Google ads. I'm sure you've run Facebook ads before, but the way this is structured, and I'm going to outline everything for you, is completely different to how you've tried some stuff before. So you're going to need Google ads. You're going to need Facebook ads. Just touched on that. 4, a repeatable sales process. And what I mean by a repeatable sales process is something that can be replicated and just duplicated over and over and over again. Requires very little actual brain power and conscious thought to map out. 5, a repeatable follow-up process. And 6, in my opinion, the most important, and that is some, if spelled properly, work ethic. Okay, some actual work ethic to go forward. So I'm going to map out every single one of these, and what I'm going to do for you is work them backwards. Okay, so that's going to really be the easiest thing for me to do. So work ethic, let's just highlight this for you. No good watching this video to the end and saying to yourself, yeah, that was interesting, I can see why that would work, and then just clicking off of it, going and continuing what you're doing. Work ethic is really understanding something like this, taking action, moving forward, putting in the processes in place, and just work ethic in general, and just doing the thing that you need to do, sitting down at your desk and turning off the Facebook, turning off Instagram, turn off TikTok, turn off emails, sit down in front of the computer and actually do the thing that you're supposed to be doing. It's really the most important thing, because without that, none of it's going to get done. And number 5, which is the repeatable follow-up process. Repeatable follow-up process is really the ability for you to be able to continue to do the same thing over and over again. We'll talk about the follow-up process now. So the follow-up process is split into 2 parts. The first part of the follow-up process is really a lead that comes through, somebody who has not been contactable, and somebody who has already been quoted. Okay, they're the 2 parts of the follow-up process. This really is the contact. So the initial response, maybe the telephone call that you make, and then these are for people who have not answered. Okay, so not answered. And then quoted is the quote itself being sent to people, and then the follow-up after that. Okay, so what do you want to do here is really very straightforward. When the lead comes through, as soon as it comes through, as quick as humanly possible, you want to call that lead as soon as it comes in. So somebody submits information on your website and you want to be able to contact them straight away. We would recommend that you make a call straight away. We actually do double dials, and we recommend to our clients to do double dials. Double dials is effectively where you are calling somebody, and then if it doesn't pick up, you call them straight away after. The reason for that is if your phone is on silent mode, iPhones, if you have them down and they're on silent mode, to break silence mode, meaning the phone will ring and it won't actually vibrate, and then they'll look later on and have a missed call. If you find that you've ever had that yourself, the reason for that is because you put your phone on silent. If you do a double dial on the iPhones, it breaks double dial, so that means it will actually ring the second time round. So you want to be able to do a double dial straight away, a double dial a couple of hours after, later that day, and then 2 more times over the next 24 hours. That's really being able to try and contact and obviously leave voicemails. Keep it fairly simple. If somebody submits their information, you just want to try and get them in as quick as possible. You want to look like you're active and want to speak to them. Leave voicemails. Don't make it too hard. That's really just the main point of the follow-up process. So as long as you're doing that with every single lead that comes through, that is a solid enough attempt to be able to get in front of that person. Again, if there's no answer, what that follow-up system then looks like is an original email. If there's no email, hi, we tried to contact you. Every single time you call them, you then just send a follow-up email, hi, we tried to contact you again. Same thing here. Now, I'm not going to talk about all the things to put in this email, but effectively, every single time you contact them over telephone call, you want to then just send them an email, reply to that thread, hi, we tried to contact you. This is really simple because some people might just want to speak over email. They might have a few questions. Some people are afraid of just picking up the phone. And look, if that's the person that you're trying to get in contact with, at least you've got another touch point on email. You could also do this with text, SMS. I'm not going to walk through the exact processes to have it here because I've made so many videos on that before. The repeatable follow-up process is, once somebody actually gives you their information to contact, what are you going to do to try and get in contact with them? And it has to be repeatable, meaning that when lead 1 comes through, lead 10 comes through, lead 100 comes through, when lead 500 comes through, the exact same process is being followed with every single one of those leads. The more touch points, the more effort you put into this, the better the conversion of contact rate is going to be. Same with quoted. Once somebody has received a price from you, they don't go ahead, they want to think about it, whatever that is, then the additional thing to here is you're sending on email the quote itself, okay? So you're sending the price, sending information, a pack over to that person. The follow-up on this is going to be the same as what's over here. You're just following up in 24 hours. Have you had more time to think about this? Would you like to have a call? You're then doing our 48 hours, just maybe sending some testimonials, some proof over to that person. And then you want to be doing that on a 5-day, plus 10-day, and then plus a 30-day. That's really as simple as it needs to be. Sounds like quite a lot, and maybe that is a little bit overkill, but you can get the idea. If you're just calling them once, sending one email 3 or 4 days later, and then when you do speak to them, you don't even send the quote over, then there's a reason why you're not being able to just generate more sales quickly. Doing and following a process like this allows you to at least have so many touch points. With every one lead that comes through, you're having around about 5 individual touch points from that person. So that is the process of a repeatable follow-up system. Your next one over here is going to be a repeatable sales process. This is really just the same thing with what you have for the follow-up. And that really, a repeatable sales process is a couple of different things. You've got the pitch of the price, the pitch of the quote needs to be the same. So the words that you say, the features and benefits and the type of information that you give can be slightly tailored depending on the type of people that you're speaking to, and obviously depending on how many different products you're selling in your firm. But the format and the structure of the pitch from the opening line to the close wants to be repeatable. The close, the ability to ask for that sale needs to be repeatable. The objection handling, you want to have that as a repeatable sales process as well. So meaning when somebody says, I need to think about it, I need to speak to my husband, speak to my wife, I need to speak to my business partner, whatever that thing is, you have a repeatable sales objection handling that you can repeat over time. If you're trying to attend this slightly different every single time, then you're not letting probabilities work correctly because you've got too many variables. If you do a science experiment and you change 6 variables at once, you can't actually figure out what variable is making the difference. So you want to have a repeatable sales process, and that allows you to just do the same thing over and over again. Now you know, right, okay, if we can convert at 25%, we now need this many leads to make this many sales to make this much in income. This is really as simple that needs to be. Again, I've made so many sales process videos on my channel if you want to check them out as well. And the third one to this is Facebook ads and Google ads, and the second one to that. I'm going to touch on these two things together because in my opinion, they're not separate platforms as much as how they complement each other. I'm just going to walk you through the exact structure that we use. So for Google ads, you want to have one campaign with around about 3 to 7 ad groups. These ad groups are going to be your product types, your product niches. And again, this really depends on the amount that you're going to be spending. If you're going to be going from 0 to 50,000 a month, your campaign structure is going to be slightly different. I assume most people in this video are going to be starting from scratch. So we're going to be talking about an account that would be really set up from scratch at the very early stages. But you would want to be doing more than this if you was doing 50 to 100 grand a month in sales, for example. Slightly different campaign structure, but you can understand just from what I need to explain here. One campaign, 3 to 7 ad groups, and then one campaign which is a performance max. So this is going to allow you to do your cold prospecting in these two campaigns, and this campaign with the performance max is also going to be a retargeting platform. Okay, so it does the full funnel. Then what you're going to want to do with Facebook ads is the same thing. One prospecting campaign. Okay, and then inside that you want 3 ad sets. So 3 ad sets within that campaign. This is a prospecting campaign, which means it has open targeting. The targeting options are going to really be simple. You're going to do one broad opening, which means it's just as broad as it can be. You pretty much allow the algorithm to go out and do the targeting for you, allowing your creative assets to go out and do the targeting. You're going to do a 5% lookalike, meaning that lookalikes based on your people who have converted into a lead, customer lists, and all the information that you have. So many videos on how to make customer lists and lookalike audiences. We're not going to touch on that right now. And then just some interests as well. So if you're doing sort of an older people, potentially going to be sort of gardening, home design, family, that type of stuff. Interests are going to be the options that you have within Facebook. The additional campaign that you're then going to do is another campaign. And this is going to be one ad set, and this is going to be a 30-day retarget. Means that you're going to retarget anyone that's been on your website within the past 30 days. This allows you to then target and retarget these people on the performance max. So anyone who comes from Facebook, we can now start to target on Google. Anyone that comes from Google, we can now start to retarget on Facebook. So it's building that holistic approach. As far as ads, you want 5 ads in total, pictures and videos. It doesn't really matter, to be totally honest, at the early stages. We really like images because they have low cost per clicks. If you design them properly, then they work really well, and they convert extremely high. But you want a minimum of 5 to start off with. So that is the campaign structure for Google ads and Facebook ads. Keep it really simple if you follow that. And then your last one here is going to be a high converting landing page. Again, I've made a video on my page on high converting landing pages. So the whole process of this is, what you've got is this customer. Okay, you've got the customer who potentially would be interested in your product. If we're just going to talk about life insurance for now. So you've got somebody who might be interested in life insurance. We then target them across Google and Facebook using the same structure that I just described at the moment. We're then sending that person over to a high converting landing page. From that high converting landing page, that then turns into a quote submission, a form submission, somebody who registers their information and interest on your website. You're then going to use the repeatable follow-up process to get in contact with that person. You're then going to employ the repeatable sales process to be able to get that person a quote, to run through their information and also pitch and overcome and sell that person. If that person then moves into a policy sale, then happy days, you've just made yourself a policy sale. If they need to think about it, do whatever, then you'll then employ the follow-up process again, and then that process goes back into the sale. That consistently repeats itself until we get the policy sale. That's one person that happens to. Now you then spend more, you push more in towards the budget, you put to get more impressions, more clicks, more eyeballs essentially, and then that funnels into this whole system as total. And again, this is the process that you do with one person. You do that over 100 people, 400 people, 1,000 people, and you can scale that up extremely quickly. This is when you then have to take on additional staff members to be able to potentially manage the ads themselves, to manage the calls, to manage the follow-ups, to manage the sales, to create landing pages, examples. That is the process that we've seen repeatedly used by our clients to be able to generate an extra 10, 50, 100,000 per month for their insurance firm. If you're interested in us being able to implement this for you, then I'll leave all the links just below this video for my website and my LinkedIn website, growmyinsurance.com, with the most comprehensive omni-channel marketing approach in the entire insurance space. We work with a host of insurance firms from car, home, life, travel, motor accessories, and so much more. If you want to book a call, feel free to pick a date and time on our schedule. We can have a chat. There's some testimonials and results that we have on here. If you do have any questions, please feel free to shoot them over. Draw me a connection over on LinkedIn if you want to speak to me more personally, and like, subscribe, do all that YouTube stuff. I hope you found some value from this video.